Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Andertons TV. I am the captain.
And I have got an electric screwdriver this time.
Yes, we did a video a few weeks ago where we took the Boss Katana 100 and tried it with a variety of Celestion speakers, compared it to the Katana speaker in there just to see what would happen, and had an interesting set of results where the Katana speaker, this one here, fared probably better than we thought it would. It kind of came out, generally speaking, as a top performing speaker on the clean tone. And the Celestions, I think, performed generally well for drive tones. Go watch that video if you want to. We promised at the time that we'd do the same video with a valve amplifier. And we have picked the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe as probably over the last 25 odd years the best selling valve amplifier ever.
Yeah, it's a good amplifier.
We have a pile of Celestion speakers here, some the same as we had in the Katana video, one or two different ones. We're also going to actually fit a Katana speaker to this just to see.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that in the comment section. I'm like, yeah, we have to do that.
So just a quick rundown. We're using a Hot Rod Deluxe Mark IV. That's the current version. When it first came out, the Mark I version had the, in fact, Mark I and Mark II versions, I think, had an Eminence speaker in it. Maybe it was just Mark I. Anyway, so they had Eminence speakers at first. Then they started using Celestion speakers on, I think, from the Mark III onwards. And the Mark IV has a Celestion A-type speaker in it. And the A stands for American. So whereas Celestion, I suppose, are synonymous with a very British sound, you know, Marshall and Vox kind of sound, they've obviously designed the A-type to give it a more American tone. Yes. It's a 50 watt 8 ohm ceramic magnet speaker. And
it's in ceramic.
Yeah.
Is it by Joe?
And that is what you're going to have. So one of these amps is going to stay as our reference amp all the way through.
Yeah, we got two.
Yeah, and the other amp is going to have a variety of different speakers fitted. And here we go. Let's see, does it make a big difference? So, Mr. Pete, take us away.
Yes,
how are you going to get to the speaker?
Well,
6.5 hours later.
Right, there we go. So, what should we start with?
So in the last video, we were trying to do it in such a way that one had the Celestion in it and one had the Katana speaker in it, and we were doing it in such a way that neither Pete or I knew which one was which. Kind of stopped any preconceptions maybe creeping in as to what you liked or didn't like. It's going to be more difficult to do this now because the Hot Rod Deluxe that we're using to have the Celestion in it has a few marks on it because it's the one we use normally in the video room. So it's going to be visually a bit more obvious which is which. Yeah. So we're probably not going to worry too much about the sort of the blindfold aspect of it. The other thing that I thought was really interesting from the Katana video was the sound in the room was not as different as the close mic'd sound that came out in the video. So quite a lot of the time, Pete and I were going, wow, it's quite similar, this sound. And then you hear it back in the recording in the video and you're going, it's not similar at all. It's like really obvious which one, you know, the two different sounds sound different. Yeah. So again, there's not much we can really do about that because of course, you know, what you're watching in the video is us in the room. But yes, at least we're sort of pre-warned and pre-armed now that potentially the sound that you're going to hear from close miking the speaker might be quite a lot more than what we pick up in the room. Anyway, let's go with, we've got a selection of speakers here. We've got some ceramic ones and some Alnico ones. So I think what we'll do is we'll blitz through the ceramic ones first. I think the first one that I almost want to get out the way is the Vintage 30. It's probably the most, one of the most famous Marshall speakers of all. It's sort of synonymous with gainier amplifiers. And you wouldn't normally put a Celestion Vintage 30 into what is fundamentally a clean sounding amplifier. But I know some people do. So let's do the Vintage 30 one first and get that one out the way. So first test is the stock Hot Rod Deluxe versus the one with the Vintage 30 in it. I have set all the EQ controls at 12 o'clock. The clean volume is set to number 3 out of 12, so that's roughly-ish 9 o'clock on the 2. And we're going to use a clean sound. We're going to use the internal drive sound on the amplifier again with the drive at 12 o'clock and the master volume at number 3, so about 9 o'clock. And then we're also going to use a higher gain tone from the Dane And we have got a Silver Sky, which is a sort of obviously a single coil loaded Stratty sounding guitar, but they're quite low powered, aren't they? They're not.
Yeah.
They're not. There's no sense that. And I think again that we did use a Strat with some pokier pickups in it, and it's almost easier to hear the difference in the speakers with the lower output pickups. That's the word. So that's why we've ended up with the Silver Sky.
Yeah.
Anyway, Pete, please take them away with some clean tones. Let's go.
Stock. Vintage 30.
Could you put it on just the neck pickup and play some heavy chugged kind of almost Stevie style? Because there's
Just like a blues. Back to that. It's more subdued, but I kind of feel like the V30 it's got less top and bottom, but it sounds more to my liking. Does it make sense?
Really? This is again, I sometimes think they're open back cabinets. So obviously, I'm hearing the sort of the back projection of the speaker. For where I'm sitting, there's quite a lot more bass end coming from the stock speaker, and
Yeah.
I think I prefer the stock speaker for that sound. But what the thing I'm probably more surprised at is how little difference there is,
There's not
and
much.
how much actually I don't mind the sound of the
V30
vintage 30. And
absolutely.
vintage 30, by the way, is not the 30 is not a reference to its power handling.
No.
I think it's a 60-70 watt speaker, so perfectly fine in this. So let's go over to the internal drive channel of the Hot Rod Deluxe.
Okay,
We're starting
back
on
up.
the stock one.
Vintage 30. It's really difficult again, man. Here we go, because it's just, I like the bottom end and the top end. As I said in the other video, for if you're in the room close with your amp,
Yeah.
you need that low end and that top end, because then it's beautiful and it sounds great. But if you're in a band situation, that cuts through more, I think, but I'm not sure.
It feels to me that by having slightly less bass end out of the vintage 30, all the notes become a bit more articulate. There's a little bit more clarity there, but like you say, it is definitely at a cost of the sound not being as big.
Yeah, it loses the bigness or the fullness of the sound.
Let's keep playing on that, and then we'll get another few seconds of that, and then we'll go over to the Dane.
Okay.
Sort of. For me, I'd stick with the stock as it stands, I think.
Yeah, I think if it came to that stock.
Let's try it with the Dane. So I'll go back to the clean channel
Yeah.
on here, and we've basically wound in the Dane to be like more driven than
Yeah.
the internal sound of here. So
So that's, we are back on the V30. Stock.
You got both. You got both on.
Oh, got both on. Ah! Stock. Is that slightly more noisy? No. Less drive, but more low end. Back pickup. Back to the V30.
Fine.
Yeah.
There you go. What was your preference there? For me, I think it's a pretty solid win for the A-type that's in here. Celestion are going to win all of these duels, by the way, because it's a Celestion in this one as well. So, yeah, I like it. But
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I think there are more speakers I'm curious to find out. It was almost like the Vintage 30 was just like, let's just do it.
Yeah,
it's such a famous speaker. Get it out of the way and let's go into some of the more obscure ones.
Well, let's move on then.
Right.
Yes.
Everybody, next one. The next 3 speakers we're going to try are going to be from the Creamback family, which are typically, they're probably some of my favorite Celestion speakers, and they're the ones that you often see used. A lot of the boutique kind of amp manufacturers will put Creambacks in. So we're going to go with the first one is going to be the medium magnet one, which is, I think that's the 65 watt handling one.
65.
Then we're going to do the heavy magnet version of it, and then we're going to do the neodymium magnet version of it, just to see what those
got the Alnico as well.
Yeah, I'm going to run the Alnico. I'm going to do all 3 Alnicos together, like ruby gold cream.
So that's
very different sounding though, I think. So anyway, look, hey. So here we go. So let's just remind ourselves of the stock speaker.
G chord. Here is the next one. It's the same as the other one. It's slightly less bottom end.
Yeah.
Go back.
I still think again, but it's a little bit less bassy than the stock one, but I think it makes the notes more articulate. I like the mellowness, I think, of the Creamback. I'm not saying I like it better or worse, but still if you just want Fender big ballsy bass end tones, the A-type in the stock one is still
I think it's again the thing you mentioned it's the clarity that you get from lower gain, lower one pickups. It's the same thing with these speakers, that they just sound less but more. Does that make sense? But you can hear more harmonics.
Yeah.
Harmonics or whatever in there.
I think it's a more balanced tone.
It's a bit more,
because it's not as accentuated in the bass end. Yeah. Let's try it with our internal drive channel
on the neck pickup and go back to the standard one. Gain better on that one.
Do you know what I think I said the same in the Katana video, is every single time at this volume, which isn't, we're not like bedroom level quiet, we're probably at quiet jam sort of volumes.
Yeah.
it always felt to me like the stock speaker was like, I'm happy here. Don't necessarily sound like I want to go any louder than this. And the Celestion ones always felt to me the opposite, almost like, could you just turn me up a bit more, please?
Yeah, I need more
almost like they just want a little bit more. But I don't know. I mean, there's not a big difference. But for me, anyway, what do you?
No, I just got. Here's the stock. Which is again, it is a Celestion, just mind you, and you can purchase that if you have got an old.
You can buy an A-type,
Well, yeah,
absolutely. You know, you mentioned something on the Katanas about there always being a slightly scratchy top end on the gain tones.
20,
Are you?
720.
I obviously sat behind it. I'm not getting quite the same sound as you, but it sounds like a more rolled off top end on the Creamback.
I don't
to
think
me. No?
it's the top end for me that much on these. It's more the low end
Right.
that is. The low end's a bit more flappy in the stock one.
Yeah. Let's go over to the Dane then.
Yeah,
Let's
okay.
chuck- so this is our heaviest gain tone.
So that's the clean stock. Man, it sounds good. Anyway, clean stock. I think that overall is more defined in everything.
That's
It gets a bit.
That's the first sound that you've had where I've gone, I definitely prefer the Creamback to the A-type.
Absolutely. And this is not super duper heavy tones. I mean, this is. You see the bottom end now.
It's too much.
It's too much and it's too confusing for the ear to define the notes out of it.
I mean, Pete was saying off camera, you know, of course, you know, if you want less bass end, you've always got the option on the tone control to turn the bass down, and if you want more brightness, you can turn the treble. So I get that to a certain degree on any of these speaker shootouts that we're doing. You've got a ton of tone control within an amplifier, so difficult really to. I don't think we can do an A/B test where every single setting on every single amplifier you hear forever.
There's something else, man. There's something else in there that you can definitely hear just when you
it's
start
smoother.
with everything.
It's creamier. It's creamier sounding, the Creamback,
but
I
just
think.
clean G chord. Man, can you imagine doing this all day long?
Oh man. Let's jump over to the heavy magnet Creamback, because I know in amps that I've tried before, the big difference there is that it does have more bass end. So maybe we can retain the clarity and add the bass end in and find, you know, like, oh, that's the one. Anyway,
I like that one. Okay, let's do that.
Yes, comment again below, please. Always love to hear your feedback as to which ones you prefer. But yes, let's move on. Okay, so here is the heavy magnet Creamback versus the stock A-type. Peter, would you like to strum away?
Yes, darling. Man, that's a difficult one. They're very similar.
Do that chugging on the
And
you
then
know,
switch it. That's like a Monday morning chug.
It's a really difficult to describe bass end on the stock speaker. I think it is that bass end that people love in a demo room, and then
Hence the Katana speaker. That's what I'm saying.
And then try to get rid of at a gig with a tube screamer or something like that, or a I mean, I still always think as well. I think on the same settings so far, I don't know. It always feels like the stock speaker sounds louder as well. Is that just where I'm sitting, or are you getting that as well?
I think it's just fuller.
It's just fuller rather than louder.
It's fuller, and maybe a little bit less defined. Because they're very similar.
Right, we're going to the internal drive channels now.
Internal drive channels. Engage. Back to stock. You know, I like that better. Because then all of a sudden this feels like the top end is much more sparkly in this one and the low end is much more defined. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know I'm sitting behind it, but it's got to be, I don't know if this is just because the Katana video is
in your head.
In my head, but it definitely is the treble side of the stock A-type speaker with gain is not as nice to listen to as the Creamback side.
I mean, we used those Creambacks, the heavy magnet ones, and a lot because they record really well. And they take gain really well. They take pedals really well.
I remember being with the guys at Victory messing around with the 212 cabinets and trying the two heavy magnets in a 212 versus the two medium magnets, and maybe again a 212 is a different thing to a 112.
Very different.
But two heavy magnets in the 212 was over the top. There's like too much bass end, and the two medium magnets in the 2x12 just made a nicer sound. You know, it's just like. But there we go. I mean, let's try it. I mean, maybe just a little bit more playing with the internal thing, and then we'll try the Dane.
Okay. It's
scratchy, or
it's
just
like
not as...
how can I explain it? It's like a really nice looking dessert, but then you eat it and it's just not really there. Do you know what I mean though? When you then do that.
Sorry, no, I put that.
You know what I mean? It says all the right things, but then when it comes down to it, it doesn't really.
I really want to hear these back through the mics as well, because that was where the big difference was. Let's try the Dane then, and then we'll move on to the next. Definitely like the bass end on this one more.
And the mid-range is different.
It's fat, but it just seems to not have those sub-bass kind of
weird
sort of. bottom end tone that I don't...
It's still great though.
Still great. I mean, to be honest with you, there was a time in Andertons videos, going back probably 6 or 7 years ago, that we just used a Hot Rod Deluxe for everything, because it was like, it was the sort of industry standard. And I kind of, I think we've been blessed with so many other so many amp brands have sent us free amps and boutique amps and stuff, and we've kind of stopped using them as much. But you can so see why I think these are about 700 quid.
$799 now. They're not cheap anymore. They used to be.
Well, relatively, still half the price of. If you went and bought like a Bad Cat or a Victory or if you go up even more from that, like a Friedman or a Morgan.
Or Friedman.
They're twice the price, aren't they, of one of those?
Yeah, just for the head, almost.
Right.
Anyway.
So. Now should we do the Neo one then quickly, and we can just so you guys know that the medium and the heavy magnet Creambacks are much the same weight as the speaker that's already in there, much the same weight as the A-type. When we go to the Neo, that's a lot lighter. So if you've got a Hot Rod Deluxe or any clean valve amplifier, and you want a good way of reducing the weight, have a look at putting a Neo speaker in there.
It's worth saying that the version 4 actually had a upgrade in the cabinetry, so it's quite lighter, much lighter than the version 3 as well. So if you're
didn't know that.
So there you go.
Let's go. Quattro. He says.
Susie Quattro.
Susie Quattro. Neo Greenback versus A-type. Here we go. Stock speaker, please.
I tell you where I'm sitting, they sound really similar.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
I didn't like the
Neo.
I'm not a fan of these neodymiums. But acoustic guitar, yes, in acoustic guitar amps or bass stuff. But for guitar, the tube amps, not so much. But these are very similar.
Can I just turn this up more? Because it just feels like there's such a big... I'm just going to go one notch up on volume. Try it again.
I tell you what, it's going to be sounding completely different for you guys out there.
It doesn't have the snap to me.
It's almost like it drives a little bit. Almost like there's some low-end drive that is not super nice. Actually, that's got it.
Plenty of headroom.
Tell you what,
they sound more similar to me now. I've turned this up, and so this is now. If you've got a Hot Rod Deluxe, the numbers go from 1 to 12. So this is now on number 4 versus this one on number 3, and they sound more similar now.
You know why it goes to 12?
Because
one more than 11.
One more than 11. Yeah, probably.
That is probably the closest one where I'm sitting today so far for me, which I didn't like to say. Because as I said, I'm not a big fan of those.
So you think the Neo is the closest to sounding like the A-type?
Yeah.
Weird. Well, come on then. Let's a bit of drive now, and again, I'll maybe just put the tiny bit more volume on this one again. Just. I like it now.
I think it's, because it's slightly louder as well.
Well, I've turned it back down on it doesn't seem like it needs the extra volume on the dirty channel for some... Focus on that riff, because the note definition, you got 2 notes there that are quite an unusual sort of... And the note definition on the Celestion is better. Getting so scientific, man.
No, it's. I tell you, it's just they're close. For me, they're really close to my ears. In the
Dane
room.
it up. Dane it up.
Dane it up. Now they're different when the gain starts to push in. You know, we have to remember also these speakers probably needs to just sit or be used a bit. You know,
But this was brand new, wasn't it?
That's brand new, yeah.
So they're both.
That's
yeah,
true.
A couple of
That's
people
true.
commented on the Katana video that
Absolutely.
you know, once a speaker's broken in, it sounds a little different.
Yeah,
And that's
these
what-
are brand new,
In
that's
all,
right.
in all the demos, we've been using brand new stock, haven't we? So
Yeah.
I guess neither
So
of
there
the
you go.
speakers are broken in. But
Yeah.
I liked it.
The last
I
bit
liked
here,
it.
I probably preferred that one with the
Really?
last bit on the neck pickup. That was a bit more something that I like better than that one.
Yeah.
It's really difficult
But
to
look, so the
explain,
Neo
man.
thing again, if you're looking to shave a few pounds off the weight of your guitar amplifier, then the neodymium magnet speakers are a good option. Anyway, that's the end of the Creamback thing. Before we do the Alnico thing, we've got a couple of other ones to just throw in the mix. So let's see what's coming next. Everybody still with us? Excellent.
Not me.
No. Okay, this next one is now a Heritage Series G1265, which, according to the Celestion website, came out in the 1970s and is popular in 4x12s, so this might be a bit of a wild card, this one. However, all the speakers that we're using today were recommended to us by Celestion as good alternatives to the A-Type, so I blame them. But let's have a little listen.
They're not watching any longer anyway, so we can say
by the
what
way,
we like now.
I've put the volume back down now, so both
Bang.
amps are back to a sort of the same volume.
Okay, let's hear what it's. Just remember our ears.
Yes. Starting to find it difficult to hear any difference anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely fading a little. My ears are fading. My ear fatigue. But I do think it's clearer. And not as much bass end. Clearer and not as much bass end. But I mean, phew,
Is it not as much bass end? Do that again. Well, it's not even not as much. It's not as low. It's like it's the same amount of kind of bass end,
Yeah.
but not the frequencies
Yeah.
don't go
You
as
can-
low, do they?
You can see if you go to Celestion's website, which I do believe maybe needs a little bit of an update on it. But
It's not very mobile
it's
friendly.
not, no, but it's got all the EQ curvature of all the amps, of all the speakers, so you can see where it sits on the whole sort of up to 12, 18, I don't know, and down to really low. You can see where and how it does when they've measured it.
Let's get some gain on it, Pete. See what
Let's
happens
get
here.
some gain. See,
So it's got more bass now on this one somehow. How did that work?
It sounds like this is now more muffled or more sort of less, more or less. That has now got more bottom and top end on the gain.
Interesting.
What? I prefer that on the gain. Now that's just
And
lagging
now this
something.
one sounds louder, even though I've turned it down.
Well, here's the neck pickup. I really like that
Yeah,
speaker.
so do I.
Wow. Well, I wasn't expecting that.
No, neither was I. Genuinely, when I read the spec, I thought, why have Celestion sent us this one? But hey, they obviously know a little bit more about speakers than we do. Just a little bit.
It looks, you know, it doesn't look.
Yeah, it's not very
Any
expensive
particular-
looking,
yeah, no,
is
exactly.
it? But not, I don't know how a speaker looks expensive.
That's
but
because you don't just judge a book by the cover. Right. So here's the Dane. Wow, that's fat, isn't it?
Is there a lot less of that upper mid-range coming out of this one? Does that have that slightly honkier upper mid-range, and this one is a...
It's weird because on the clean, man, my ears are actually going, but I must admit that I like it better. That's all I can say. I like it better. It's got, on the drive, it's definitely better. And that's funny, because as soon as you put the drive in, that speaker became that speaker on the clean. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's kind of what happened to
I think this
my
was
ears.
almost the first one where it was almost like the clean sound, this was the clear winner, wasn't it? And then almost on the drive sound, I'm not sure.
No, I like it on a drive as well.
but is it...
Because I like a bit of low end on it, but I like that speaker.
Hey. We got the wild card there. So yeah, that was the Heritage Series G12-65.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, let's try to go back to the clean tones just
Yep.
for the amps there. So Dane off and then to see what it sounds like.
Okay, here we go with the next speaker. Now this one, be a little careful of. I'm not entirely sure it would be appropriate
Knew you were.
for us to advise you put this particular speaker in this particular amp, because it is a Celestion Greenback. And it is only rated at 20 watts.
Yeah.
So kind of fine. Let's say you had a Blues Junior, Fender Blues Junior, and you're thinking, oh, I like the sound of this. Would it work in my Blues Junior? Yes, shouldn't have a problem there. But as this amplifier is rated at 40 watts and the speaker's only rated at 20, you are in the territory where you could blow the speaker up if you drove it too hard. That's why you typically only see this speaker in 412s, and then you get 80 watts. Angus Young is apparently, he is a Greenback user.
Green fanatic.
But we're fine. At this volume, I'm not worried, so you can at least hear it. And in fairness, I can't remember the exact model name of this particular speaker.
G12M, but it's a
That's
green...
it. Is it Heritage Series G12M
I'm not sure, but it's a
Greenback?
green one.
But yeah,
Put it on screen.
it's the 20 watt one. Anyway.
It's funny to mention that that speaker is in the Morgan PR12.
Right.
Which it doesn't make much sense because it's the Princeton 12, you know, so the type of amplifier that it is doesn't necessarily scream Greenback, you know.
Well, let's see what it sounds like.
So let's see, here
we go.
The original for refreshing the brain or whatever. And here's the Greenback. I like it.
It's a lovely sound.
It's a lovely sound. It drives a little bit more. It seems like there's a little bit more grit already, but maybe that's a 20 watt. Is it not?
It is breaking up a tiny bit, isn't it? The Greenback?
Is that because it's 20 watts?
Could be. I'm a big fan of...
I think it sounds
big
great.
fan of actually matching the power handling of the speaker to the amp closer. Like, I'm not a big fan... Like, say you've got a 20 watt amp. I'm not a big fan of putting like a 100 watt speaker in it. Just because I sometimes think
you need to match it.
You need to... The speaker likes to be moved, you know, reasonably close to its power handling.
It's interesting. I would like to try 2 Greenbacks in a V40, for instance.
Well, then you would get
Scenario.
so 2 20 watt speakers together would give you 40 watts. I mean, it's a. But I spoke to we go into this on the Katana video. I spoke to someone at Celestion, and I was a bit like, how dangerous is it to use a speaker that's not capable of handling the power output of the amp? And the guy at Celestion was, it's like, it is pretty hard to blow a speaker up. I mean, you've got to crank it and you've got to use it for a certain number of hours. And he just went, it's just like, by the book, we can't really recommend it. But I think for those of you who are comfortable, that you know what you're doing with your amplifier and you know typically where you might drive it and all that kind of stuff, I think it's probably okay. But yes, from a warranty point of view, you have to, you know,
we don't take this one.
Follow the rules. But here we go. So let's want a bit of gain on this? Or do you want to stay clean for a bit? I do like that.
It's good, isn't it?
Do you think this sounds a bit muffled compared? Do you think the stock speaker sounds a bit muffled compared to
absolutely. I'm very surprised. I was not expecting that, I must admit.
I mean, we're all the volume levels have stayed basically around about number 3 on these, and everyone with a hot rod will know that what tends to happen with the volume controls is that pretty much the amp gets louder up to about halfway, and then after that it doesn't really get any louder. It just sort of drives more. Yeah. So we're probably, even at number 3, we're probably maybe at 50% of the volume. Anyway, look, let's go over to the drive channel. Here we go.
We're back. And now it's going to be interesting.
That's weird.
I like it.
I think
that's the neck pickup. I prefer that.
It is clearer. The definition is better, but I don't know. I think I like it more on its clean sound than.
No, I like it better.
Well, let's dane it up then. Dane it up, baby.
Dane it up. Okay, so here's clean dane. It's just not loud enough.
It's nicer to listen to. With that, it's got this like kind of that, and this one's just this like, oh no, I'm not going to have that frequency. I'm just going to have this slightly nicer, clearer to hear.
That's really nice.
I don't know.
I'm surprised.
I mean, I do think in both the Katana demo and already in this one, they've obviously spent quite a lot of time deciding what speaker to put in this, because it's sounding good all the way through.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not convinced in either of these videos we've done a really good job of going, oh yeah, rush out and change it because it'll be better. I just think you've got, for some people, they'll be looking for a certain vibe and a certain sound out of their Hot Rod Deluxe, and hopefully one of these speakers, they will go, oh, you know what? I do prefer that sound, and I will change my speaker. But
Yeah.
there's no sense of like
immediate unicorn
like just
and,
bonus upgrade. Just it will
rainbows coming
work
out of-
on everything.
No,
Yeah,
right? You really have to look into what kind of music you like. Can I just before
you
you
wanna
do that?
keep going, sorry,
I just want
there was
to quick on the back pickup with
Yeah.
the Danes though. Back. It's better for the gain. I like it. It's like it's got that. It's got that rock. See what I mean? It's very brittle. And back to the other one. I mean, I understand the rock. Why somebody like Angus Young would use this?
I did just turn this amp up to number 4. To be totally honest with you, of course, the volume difference between these two amplifiers of that maybe 10% that this one feels a little bit louder could, of course, just be down to the tolerance of the pot.
Yeah.
And it might well be that actually I need to run this one at 4 to be the same volume as this one at 3 anyways. But I'm not, just so you guys are aware, if you see me changing something, I'm really not doing anything more than perhaps changing the volume between 3 and 4. It's like a little butterfly like this.
Let's fly onto the next speaker. Yeah.
Bosh, here we go now. I'm going to eat my words at the end of this, because what we've done is we've gone from the 20 watt one in the Greenback to the 150 watt one in the Redback. It's a big old magnet on the back of the speaker. Doesn't seem to weigh a great deal more, but it's definitely bigger. And what the Celestion website says is this was designed for the guitar player that just wants a ton of power into a small cabinet. So say you've got a 100 watt Marshall or something like that, and you're normally running it into a 412 because that's how many speakers you need for the power. You could conceivably just run this into a 112.
Which is a great idea.
It does say if you've got a lower powered combo, try it, because you'll be amazed by the smoothness of the clean tones and light it up. But as I said in the previous clip, that I like to try and match my speaker to the volume. As I said, maybe I've got that completely wrong. So here we are. This is the A-Type versus the Redback. Sounds like American football teams, doesn't it?
Okay, so here we go. A-Type.
Is this the first one where the bass end has been almost identical between the two?
I would not know at this point in this video, but I think it's got a similar bottom end, but it's tighter on this one, but it's more floppy on this one.
You know, we keep saying that this one seems to have those like sub-bass harmonics of giving it that very low end. This seems to pick those up as well.
It's got that, but they're more defined in that speaker, if you ask me. A little bit more muddy. You know what I mean when I'm saying it's not muddy, because
this one's
it's still
brighter,
lovely.
isn't it?
I think it's just more defined in the low end. But that might be the way that how much headroom it's got, that speaker. Gain, back pickup. Funny how the low end goes away all of a sudden. Oh, is it funny? I don't know.
again, just brighter, isn't it? It's got the same amount of bass end in my ears, but a little bit more treble.
Yeah, and more defined sound through it.
Let's Dane it up.
Oh man,
Dane it up, baby.
Okay, so here's the A-type with the Dane. That wants to go today. There's the... So hard to tell at this point. I mean, I've been sitting in front of these two amps for a little while now.
Most of the day.
I prefer that one overall. I think the Redback is pretty. It does this, you know. It does the nice clean.
Are you saying you think the Redback might be your favourite one so far?
If I wasn't in a band with the amp, I would probably prefer. You know, is it worth spending? I don't know how much this even is, but is it worth spending that money when they're so close? Meh.
It's weird though, isn't it? Because 1,000,000%, if we had a pedal that was 150 quid, and it was just like, oh yeah, it's the always on pedal because it just makes you sound like 2% better. You go, well, then
you buy it.
If a speaker makes you sound 2% better, and obviously it's always on because it can't not be on, then
yes, but people buy. You say that, and that's completely true. But remember, people buy a pedal every month.
Yeah.
Between 100 and 200 quid, they'll probably spend on a pedal every month. So why not do it on a speaker?
I must admit, these speaker
it's not
videos
easy to
are
change.
exhausting.
They are because it
just takes us a long time, and I half of me feels like watching the video back, and hopefully we can condense this down. It's like a 40-minute video. you're well, like a 40 to 50-minute video.
Well, the other one was over an hour, wasn't it?
No, I don't think so. Yeah. Was it an hour and a half?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, take that back. But at least you've got the ability to just literally fast forward and rewind and compare. I think in here, now that we're on to like the 6th or 7th speaker, your brain starts to go, I can't remember anything anymore.
Yeah, but that's the good thing about the way that we're doing it is that we do have the stock and then the other speaker right next to it. I did like the Greenback a lot, but let's go on. Let's move on.
Yeah, I don't know. My midway point is I think I did still like how the Creamback sounded. I still think I like the medium magnet Creamback more than the heavy magnet, but I like the basic softness of the tone. And that one, the Redback, I think, to be honest with you, I realised that, again, any preconception you have about anything to do with the guitar, I think, and you hear it like, I don't like this fretboard, I don't like this fretboard radius, I don't like these pickups, I don't like this speaker. Yeah. Any of those things, or the flip side, you do like them or whatever. Yeah. It just means nothing to me anymore, because the minute you try that in another rig or environment or whatever, all of a sudden you go, oh, I've changed my mind. Yeah. So I think the
unless you're a
important
hardcore fan of some brand or
even
something.
then, I just think stay open-minded about everything. And if you see something new and you go, oh, I won't like that because X, Y, Z, just go, hang on, have you tried it? Because if you haven't tried it,
are you talking about?
I wonder where you were going with that, Pete. But hey, olives is good for me. Okay, let's move on. This is, we're near the end now. Well done, everybody.
This
has taken Pete and I all day. It's going to be one of those days where we came in the morning and it was a bit dark, and we've gone home in the evening and it's dark again. Yeah.
And Taylor, poor Taylor.
Poor Taylor. So the not quite the last one. We've got two more Alnico speakers now, and then we're going to plug the Katana in speaker last. So Alnico magnets are the original kind of ways speakers were made back in the days where you might think of a blueback in a Vox AC30. So we have now a Rubyback, which is the 35 watt one, and then a Creamback, which is a slightly higher powered version.
So you said two more after this, and then that. So this one, 3
exactly.
in total.
So here we go. Let's try the original.
I like that.
I'm convinced whenever I hear, and I'm sure it's psychosomatic, but I'm convinced when I hear an Alnico speaker, I hear the bass end going voxy. Not the tone structure isn't voxy, but it's that when you hear that bell-like chime of an AC30, I'm convinced a lot of that comes from the Alnico speaker. But
you're probably right.
I might have made it all up. But
at this point, anything is.
At this point, all I can think about is going home. Right, let's go channel 2.
Okay. Definitely need to turn that up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really like it. I don't think. I think for a Fendery sounding amplifier, it's just, and they're quite expensive. The Alnico ones will be the dearest ones that
over
we're
£200, I think.
Let's try it with the Dane.
Let's try it with the Dane. I think I prefer that with the Dane. It's just there's better harmonics and it's more articulate again, I think. But I mean, I could be deaf by now.
There's that slightly upper mid-rangey thing that
upper mid-class.
Yeah, that all the way through the demos, I've been preferring the fact that the Celestion's this amp hasn't had that frequency, whereas that has, and it sounds like all of a sudden with this speaker, it's got that frequency. If anything, it's got more of it. What do you guys think? I wasn't.
Let me just. Quickly.
I kind of think Alnico speakers have a place, but it's maybe not in these kind of amps. What do you want me to do?
I just want the Dane here. Maybe not.
Maybe not. Meh, okay.
Maybe not. Maybe not that one.
Maybe you heard something you liked. 2 more speakers to go. Let's go. Woo!
Let's go. Oh, that was funny.
Well done. If you're still with us, give yourself a pat on the back. Another Alnico speaker here, but this time the Creamback, which is the it's quite a lot higher powered. The Ruby we just did is 35 watts. Some of you might be, again, perhaps a little nervous on the Ruby if you run your Hot Rod Deluxe super loud. Although in fairness, I don't know that many of you will be buying that one for the Hot Rod Deluxe. I didn't think it was a great sounding one personally.
It has to be some creamy
So here's
stuff.
the Creamback Alnico now, which has got more power and a different kind of sound as well. So here we go. Here's the stock one.
Yeah. I've turned the
That's
guitar
the
up.
best sound you've had all day.
Here's the stock one.
I really like that.
Which one?
That one.
Yeah. It's a great speaker.
It's expensive, isn't it? I mean, you're kind of hoping that it's substantially better, but that really brought the tone to life, didn't it?
It is. It's one of my favourite. That and the gold, which unfortunately we don't have.
What's the difference between the gold and the Creamback? Is it just power again?
I think it's the gold is 50 watts, and I think it's just it's played in a little bit more.
Right.
I think it's broken in already. As it were.
So that's right. No, you're right. It's supposed to be like a blueback, but more broken in.
Yeah.
I wonder if it'll sound more like the Ruby then, to be honest with you.
I think it'll sound more like the Ruby. This one is more like a Creamback, so like a heavy magnet Creamback.
I really like that. Keep playing the clean sound.
It's
really
delicious.
I think that's the first one where I've instantly gone, yes, change the speaker.
I think there's a couple of other ones where you just go, there's definitely something there that is more harmonic and open and clear. This is definitely just top of the notch.
Do we need to tell people that the rim on the Ruby was a tiny bit thicker, wasn't it, than the one that came out, and the screws weren't quite long enough?
So I think you have to kind of, just because it's got a slightly sort of rubber or foam ring, whatever, so you have to kind of push it in a bit, or maybe
so they did still fit, did they?
It does fit, but you have to sort of, maybe it's a better idea just to get a little bit longer screws.
The screw,
it's just on the cost.
Because the screws don't come with the speakers when you buy them, so typically you just reuse the old ones that were in there. But we did, it's like the metal rims on the Alnico speakers from Celestion are like a fraction, maybe a millimetre or so thicker than the rims that seem to come on the ceramic speakers. So, and it was just enough to feel like you might want a very slightly longer screw.
Yeah, I changed them in the Victory cab, for instance. Those screws are slightly longer, so that fits really well.
Can we go to a little bit of internal gain?
We can. I think when you get used to it, it's better.
But again, I don't think all of a sudden now the Creamback Alnico sounds necessarily 220 quid better now than the stock one does. It did on the clean sound, I think, but on the gain channel,
the gain channel in this, man, you have to be honest with people and say the gain channel in this is not.
No, Hot Rod Deluxe has never had.
It's not renowned
like
for
a beautiful.
It's
a pedal amp, isn't it? You get your gain from
pedals.
Better. Let's try it with the Dane there.
That one bends slightly under.
Can I?
It's much more defined.
My absolute favourite sound was the clean channel. Could I have, because you've got that guitar, could I have some Slow Dancing in a Burning Room comparison?
Okay, so we need a bit more reverb then.
Okay, a bit more reverb. I got up to number 4 on the reverb.
Let's do it.
Definitely the immediate John Mayer upgrade for your Hot Rod Deluxe is to put a Celestion Alnico Creamback in it.
That's very delicious. I like that very much. What is it?
crispiness.
It brings the bell tones out of the Strat as well.
Pretty much that's the end of the demo, except for... Which way up is this? This one!
Oof!
Katana! This is it, the final one. I don't even know if you can buy this speaker, to be honest with you, but this is the speaker out of our Katana 100, the Mark II, versus the A-type speaker that's in the Fender. Here we go. Let's go, and then we'll conclude. It's not as full sounding, is it?
But it maybe need a little bit more volume, I think. But I like it. I mean, it's not bad for.
I mean, people were saying in that first Katana video that they were claiming that this Katana speaker is some sort of FR speaker because the amp's a modelling amplifier and everything. And that's not the case.
No, it's not a modelling amplifier.
It's not a modelling amplifier, Katana. It's a completely analog amplifier, and it is a normal guitar speaker.
Digital, but analog preamp, isn't it?
That's
AB
right.
preamp. That's
but it's not trying to be a modelling amplifier.
No.
So yes, the speaker is a conventional guitar
As
speaker.
you can hear. It sounds great.
And therefore it does sound fine. Yeah, I mean, look.
Now here's the thing. Let's do it with the gain, because the gain was the one.
Do you want gain in the amp first?
Let's try that first, yeah.
Okay.
So there's the A-type. Again,
it's that fizzy top end, isn't it?
There it is. As soon as we put the gain on, it's got
that's my least favourite of all the speakers we've had today for gain.
The gain at 720 versus 1080, man. There we go. So here. There you go, bang, bang. It's better. It's just fizzly and top endy, and it's just missing. I mean, we don't need to play anymore. We just wanted to do this to prove a point. That it's not a bad speaker.
No, it's a good speaker.
But again, the gains, when it gets gain, it's just
and
lacking.
Let's not forget, you can buy a whole Katana amplifier, including the speaker, for the same price that some of the speakers we've been using today would cost.
Correctly.
I don't know. It's very, very difficult for me. It's possibly both of us. So it's now coming up to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and we started this video about 10:30 this morning. Admittedly,
with a few
stops and bits and bobs. So I can't honestly remember.
I think the low end with the full the Creamback.
Yeah.
For me, the Creamback heavy magnet, the Greenback, funnily enough, and then the Alnico Creamback.
I remember liking that Redback as well.
Yes, the 150
and I
watts.
remember thinking that speaker that we thought was supposed to go into a 4x12, but ended up in the 1x12 sounded good as well. The Heritage G12, whatever it was, 65, I think.
Yeah.
But
G12.
I think the standout one for me, the difference was the A-type on the clean sound had this constant heavy bottom end, which I really liked, but I think we both agreed is almost like something that sounds better for in a demo situation than it necessarily would in a band. But it sounded really, really good.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of the other Celestions seemed to have a slightly smoother tone for the drive sounds. But I do think that the only one that I would go, oh yeah, I think that's the one I would change it for, probably was the Creamback Alnico.
Yeah. Creamback, or for me, the heavy magnet Creamback. Those two. Because I used to have a Hot Rod Deluxe, and I had a heavy...
Right.
Creamback, and it just gives you more bottom. It's just the harmonics are just more there with the guitar.
I think that really, if you're seriously considering doing this, just find the different, mark the different points in this video where different speakers are, and just literally go back, listen to like 30 seconds of that, fast forward, listen to those, cut all of our talking rubbish out.
Actually, we'll put them in.
And then hopefully you'll be going, yeah, that's the sound. And I suspect, like we said in the Katana video, like I said in one of the comments after the Katana video, the amps will sound different close mic'd to what they do in the room.
Yeah.
What you're hearing in this video will be a mix of predominantly the close mics, but a little blend in of, we've got some ambient mics in the room as well. But there we are.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this speaker video again, Pete.
See, people are saying,
much.
you don't need to do a master one.
I'm not doing it.
I can honestly tell you, taking a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe apart, what was it, 7, 8 times?
9.
It's not ideal.
No.
Just saying. It's not ideal.
So, in fairness, if we do this again, I think we'll just do it using IRs.
Yeah. Or cabs. Just a cab where you can take it out. You don't have to take anything out,
Anyway, look, thank you very much for watching, guys. It's an honour to have you with us. And thank you, Celestion, for sending through some more speakers to us.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you, Pete, for great playing.
Thank you, Lee, for being
and that's it.
there for me.
Have a lovely day, everybody. Bye-bye.